Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're here. We're going over 10 predictive questions that will help you on your PMP or your CAPM exams. This is going to be so fantastic. But even better is that we're going to use this with the PMP Fast Track lens just to try and narrow down the answers really quickly, to see if we can blitz through these really quickly. And remember, there's a few tips just broadly, but I'll put the link to the real video up the top as well. Try not to hire, try not to fire if we can help it. Try not to ask for money. Try not to, now we do want to ask for help, remember, from our team. Our team will know what to do with their estimates and with their ways of working, but we don't want to delay. So remember, try not to delay if we can help it. Don't sit on our hands and do nothing, and don't make someone else do our job. So that's a really great guide. And then also, we want to make sure that we're delivering value. Be direct and collaborative in our responses. Don't go around the issue. Be honest and don't pass the buck. And problem solve, problem solve, problem solve. Identify the real cause, identify the real problem. Now that is a great bunch of tips to get us started. Let's get into these questions. This is going to be a whole bunch of fun. You are managing a project to implement a new order management system for a manufacturing company. During a stakeholder meeting, concerns are raised about how the new system will interact with existing systems, and stakeholders request a clear visual representation of the new system's interfaces and dependencies. This might just be a diagram of some sort with the existing systems. What are we going to do next? So how a system interacts with another system, maybe this way or that way. How does the information flow? I think this is either a sequence diagram or, here it is, a context diagram. Are you familiar with this? So a use case diagram is for our use cases. That's our actor and the steps to get there. A detailed workflow diagram might just be a process map of our workflow or something similar. But that's more for our work and the process. But a context diagram is great for our systems. Schedule network diagram is for our schedule on our project, the order of our tasks, and dependencies of our tasks. So I think this one, hey, this is great. Can they all be this easy? Let's try answer C. And that's the one. That was it. So now we know what a context diagram is. And usually it's just in the center is a circle and boxes for other systems. And how do they interact? Where does the information flow in and out of the main system? And then it describes the other things that we just described already. Page 259 under context diagram in the process groups practice guide. Now that was nice and easy to get started. Wow, are they all going to be this easy? Let's find out. I don't think they will. If our other question videos are anything to go by, they've been really hard. So let's see. You're in the process of planning scope management. The project sponsor wants to limit the amount of rework by using the information contained in the project charter. What relevant information will you not find in the project charter? Oh, this is pretty good as well. What's in the project charter? High-level things. We use a high-level idea to initiate and kick off our project. So this should be pretty straightforward too. Let's see. Do we have detailed project deliverables and acceptance criteria? And the answer is no, we don't. Because it's just high level. We haven't planned our project out yet. We're just in the initiating stage. So we don't have detailed information at all. So I think we might actually have the answer there already. Gosh, this is great. Gosh, let's hope the PMP exam is just like this. But again, I have a feeling they're going to be a little bit more tricky coming up. So approval requirements, yes, we want those things. Exit criteria, yes. And summary milestones, so high-level milestones, yes, all of those go into the project charter. So what is not in there is answer A. Excellent work. That was nice and easy. The project charter contains high-level information, while the project scope statement contains a detailed description of the scope components. So that's exactly what we're talking about there. Project scope statement, page 222, process groups, practice guide. All right, let's get through these. Hey, we could be on a record time here going at this rate. Let's see what we've got. You are in the planning stage of a project to design and build a new office complex for a client. During a planning session, your team successfully created a work breakdown structure and decomposed the project into manageable work packages. What are we going to do next? Now, this is just a process question. Okay, so this is pretty good too. What do we do after work breakdown structure? Remember, work breakdown structure is we have the project, we have the high-level deliverables, we break them down further and further. We decompose them, and we've decomposed them into work packages which we can assign to people to complete. Now, what do we do after that? I think, do we break it down further or do we just assign them? Let's see if we get any clues here. Break down the work packages into user stories and add them to the product roadmap. Now, those are agile terms. So typically, work packages will not be in the same sort of style of project. That's more of a waterfall or a predictive project. So we know that we're not in an agile project. I think for that reason, we can put a no for user stories and product roadmap. A product roadmap is just like a project schedule, basically. Break down the work packages into activities and sequence them on the project schedule. That's right, that's what we do next. So we break it down further into work packages, then we break it down further again into activities, and then we can put those on our project schedule. I think that's actually pretty good. Let's see what else we have just in case. Add the work packages to a Gantt chart. I think we can do that, but let's break them down first. Assign the work packages to team members for immediate execution. Again, we can do that, but first we want to break them down into activities. So let's go with answer B. Excellent work. Activities are extracted from work packages and organized in the correct order within the project schedule. A work package can be used to group the activities where work is scheduled. Create the work breakdown structure, page 88, under the process groups practice guide. Excellent work. All right, next question. You're managing a project to develop a new customer database for a client. Your team is working to complete the scope baseline and has finalized the project scope statement and work breakdown structure. What are we going to do next? Okay, now scope baseline, work breakdown structure. What comes after that? I think work breakdown structure dictionary we're going to need in there, and work packages in there as well, or something like that. Let's see if we get any clues here. Have the client validate the scope to confirm the baseline. What is validating the scope? That's once the scope has been delivered in a nice little package here. This is my present, a nice little product being delivered, and the project sponsor usually says, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. It passes all the quality, and they validate it. They accept the deliverables. So that's all the way at the end when we're accepting the deliverables. So that's a no for now on that one. Distribute the scope baseline documents to all stakeholders. Are we ready to do that? I think there's one more step in here, but I can't remember. It's something like work breakdown structure dictionary. Oh, well, there it is. Work breakdown structure dictionary. I think that could be our one. So that's it. Let's put a low maybe on that, high maybe on this one. Review and document the accepted deliverables. That's right at the end as well. So we've got 2 at the end, 2 at the beginning, and I think the next one is work breakdown structure dictionary. Let's go with answer C. Excellent work. This is great. This is a blast. I'm having a great time with these ones. Work breakdown structure dictionary and work packages come after the work breakdown structure and the scope statement. So all of that makes up our scope baseline. Remember that. Very important. Scope baseline, page 236, under the process groups practice guide. Excellent work. Now we're nearly at the halfway point already, so you're doing great. Keep going. You're managing a software development project and you're noticing an increase of change requests being submitted. These changes, although small, were not originally covered, and the project sponsor is concerned about scope creep. What are we going to do? Do we review the project scope statement to confirm project scope exclusions? Hey, we've got a lot of scope stuff here. Scope statement. Now that's what we start with. Remember, work breakdown structure, then work breakdown structure dictionary, then work packages assigned to our staff or our team. So in the statement, we do have a high-level list of features, a description of the items, and also the exclusions. So what's out of scope? I think that actually could work. Let's see what else we have just in case. So concerned about scope creep. Do we personally approve all changes to ensure they're in line with the scope baseline? Well, we need to go through the proper change control process. So that's a no. Reduce the project scope to ensure that the team has more time to accommodate the changes. That is delaying the project or taking away the value of the project. So remember, we don't want to do that if we can help it. Update the change control process to limit how many change requests can be submitted. Oh, that's tricky. So yes, change control process, but we should already have a change control process in place. We just need to abide by that. We don't actually change that process unless we're, oh gosh, that's a bit tricky actually. So between those two, the best answer to reduce the scope creep, we can figure out what is excluded. So I think let's check that first. Then if we need to, and we have a retrospective or a post-implementation review, and we want to update our process, our project process, then we can update the change control process. Let's go with answer A. Okay, so that's it. Those two were quite close, but we got there in the end. The project scope statement includes project exclusions, which state what is out of scope for the project and helps manage stakeholders' expectations. Page 246 in the PMP Guide, 7th edition. Project scope statement. It's either in there or the Process Groups Practice Guide. Both of those are the latest books currently, and there'll be the PMP Guide 8th edition coming out soon as well. Now, next question. We're halfway through. Great job. You're managing a project to launch a new mobile application. You have developed a list of project activities and are now preparing the project schedule. All right, I think we're going through a project in this lot of questions. We're doing scope, breaking it down, putting it on a schedule. After organizing the activities, you notice some tasks must be completed before others can begin. Oh, I know what this is. While some can be done concurrently at the same time. How will you logically schedule these activities? We use, what's it called? The precedence diagramming method. Is it finish to finish? Finish to start to finish, or start to start? And what's the trick here? The second activity can't finish until the first activity has finished. The second activity can't start until the first activity has finished. So that's a trick in the way that it's described. Nice and easy to remember. So what do? Do we use wideband Delphi? Well, that's an estimating technique. So that's not going to help us with scheduling. That's a no. Do we use precedence diagramming method to create a network diagram? Probably. That's what we were saying. Add the activities to a Kanban board for the team to pull when they're ready. Well, we still need to sequence them and prioritize them. Even if it's in an agile team, the priority of the tasks is the same as the precedence or the order that they're occurring in. So it's basically the same thing. So similar idea, but we still need to order them correctly. Apply them to a Gantt chart to visually display the activities, and I don't think that's the best answer. Let's go with answer B. Excellent. Precedence diagramming method shows how the activities are linked and the sequence in which they need to be performed. Page 284 in the Process Groups Practice Guide, Precedence Diagramming Method. Excellent work. Really getting through these ones. 4 to go. During a planning meeting of your project, the client emphasizes the importance of delivering a product that performs faster than the industry-leading systems and aligns with industry standards. What are we going to do? Good question. Let's get some tips from the answers here. See if anything stands out. Do we perform a root cause analysis to identify potential challenges in meeting performance standards? Well, it needs to perform faster than the current leading systems. Root cause analysis? Maybe we do want to get to the root cause of the issue. Is it that easy? Let's put that as a high maybe for now. Do we conduct a risk assessment to evaluate the likelihood of failing to meet undefined performance metrics? It's not really related to this key word, to this key problem, is it? So let's put that as a no. Do we use benchmarking? Here we go. Benchmarking is comparing our product to other industry products or standards, and then seeing the gaps, and then using those gaps to deliver features to improve our product. Benchmarking. I think that actually could be our one. On your proposed quality metrics, that sounds pretty good actually. Schedule a meeting with stakeholders to negotiate acceptable performance targets, potentially, but the best one here is benchmarking because we're comparing. It's what it asked us to do. We're solving the real cause of the issue. Let's go with answer C. And there it is, nice and easy. Page 323 in the Process Groups Practice Guide. Benchmarking involves comparing actual or planned project practices or the project's quality standards to those of comparable projects to identify best practices. And then we can use that to deliver on those best practices. Really good stuff. All right. And also really good stuff. Only 3 to go in this little section. Wow, we are breezing through this lot. This is my favorite one so far. Nice and easy. You're managing a project to develop a mobile application for a client. The development team has completed all required deliverables and they have been formally accepted by the client after successful validation. Remember that. You're now looking to close the project. What will you not do next? So here it is. We get to the idea of this question at the last bit. So we're now looking to close the project. But what are we not going to do? Do we identify the lessons learned? Yes, we do. Do we prepare and distribute the final report? Yes, we do. Do we close the project accounts and release or reassign personnel? Yes, we do that as well when we're closing a project. Do we implement the agreed upon risk response plans? Well, we've got 3 good ones already. This one, we probably do this as we're executing and monitoring and controlling our project. So really, that's before we close. So we're not going to do that when we're closing. Let's go with answer D. And there it is. When closing a project, the project manager ensures the project has met its objectives. We identify lessons learned, prepare the final report, release personnel, and page 198 under close project or phase in the Process Groups Practice Guide. Excellent. How did you guys go with that? The closing process, very handy to know. Now we've got 2 to go in this little section. You're doing a fantastic job. Your team has identified a critical requirement for advancing functionality of the system that you're creating. They had planned to prepare this feature with a third party. However, you're unsure if the system can support it, and there are tight project schedule and budget constraints. Of course, as always, what are we going to do next? Do we add additional resources to the internal team to accelerate the in-house development effort? Remember, try not to hire, try not to fire. So this one, let's put that as a very low maybe for now and hope that something better comes along. Do we perform a root cause analysis to determine why there are budget constraints in the team? Does that address what we're doing here? We don't really need a root cause analysis. I don't think that's going to be our answer. Let's put that as a very low maybe as well. Do we remove the advanced analytics functionality from the scope to simplify project execution? That's removing some of the value. That's removing, delaying, I don't think we want to do that. Again, according to the Fast Track, we want to avoid doing that if we can. Our ideal situation is to deliver on the value that we said we would. Now, do we conduct a make or buy analysis for a third-party vendor with your team? Third party, make or buy, we're not sure if the system can support it. I think out of all of these, that's our best option, and it certainly aligns with a vendor. So let's go with answer D. Okay, we did it. And these were quite a little bit vague, I think, actually. But that was the best one. It matched up with procurements, which is where we were heading. A make or buy analysis is determining whether work or deliverables can be accomplished by the project team or if they should be purchased from outside sources. Page 280, make or buy analysis in the Process Groups Practice Guide. And last question in this section. You've done so well to get here. Keep going. You're doing great. Let's get this last one done. During the initiation phase of your project, you identify a large number of stakeholders with varying degrees of interest in the project. The sheer number of stakeholders and their conflicting priorities are creating challenges in defining clear project objectives and decision-making processes. So lots of stakeholders, conflicting priorities. How do we put them together? How do we manage this as a project manager? What are we going to do? Do we conduct stakeholder mapping to categorize and prioritize the stakeholders? You know what? That actually sounds pretty good. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's see what else we have just in case. Focus on engaging only the stakeholders with an upward direction of influence, which means people above us, which means our managers, executives, directors, those sorts of things. Now, we can't just engage those people. Yes, they're important, but we need different engagement strategies for the different categories of our stakeholders. And that's what this one's going to do. So this one's a no. Hold a series of workshops to allow all stakeholders to voice their concerns. Well, we could do that, but we might be here until Christmas because everybody is going to want to have a say, and we need to categorize people so that we're having the appropriate voices be heard. So that's why we do this. It's actually quite a good step, very important, and also very handy as a project manager. So this one is also a no. Escalate the issue. Oh no, it's that word again. Escalate. Ideally, we don't want to escalate, remember, but let's check it just in case. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor to reduce some stakeholder involvement. Do we want to do this? No, we want to try and manage this ourselves if we can. Always remember, that means I think we're going to go with answer A. And there it is. How did you guys go with that one? Stakeholder mapping and representation is a method of categorizing stakeholders using various methods. We do this, it assists the team in building the right relationships with the identified stakeholders in the project. Page 301, Stakeholder Mapping in the Process Groups Practice Guide, which is again a wonderful tool for your study to look over that guide. And also a wonderful tool for your study is to practice every single day in the way that you have been doing. So I think you're doing a fantastic job. Keep going, keep learning, keep growing. And some of these things, all of these things we can take and use on our real world projects straight away. Some of these are extremely handy tools to have in our back pocket as project managers. You'll be able to take these tools and use them anytime you need by learning these things, learning the right things, and doing great things as a project manager. Keep going. I believe in you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.